It's time to ask the old guy. For the first time since minicamp has begun, Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. We ask the old guy. We are, two-thirds of the way through actually just about done, I guess, because they're already on the field right now. Minicamp, mandatory minicamp. And I guess we have to start with Bryce the Mouth, that Bryce Young has become this Michael Jordan-esque trash talker?
Yeah, maybe not quite Michael Jordan, but I think, and it's like with all stories, there are only so many kinds of stories, and fish out of water is one of the basics. It's one of the tropes, and when you've seen a guy be quiet, be polite, and then all of a sudden he starts yapping, it's like, oh, well, that's not what I'm accustomed to, and it stands in stark relief. I think a lot of this is Bryce has always had an edge about him. Listen, you don't play the kind of football he played at Alabama, get to the level he got to without having a little bit of edge. But the problem was when he got here, he didn't have results to go with it.
Right.
And it's hard to talk when you're not having results. So I think this is just a natural outgrowth of the way they played second half of the season, how comfortable he feels with Dave Canales, and being in a situation that's stable and normal for a minute. And I think that's been the biggest thing. I mean, this is probably who he is. He's got a playful side. He messes with teammates. He's jawing back and forth with J.C. Horn. That's always been there. It's just more visible now because he's comfortable enough to let it out.
All right, let's talk about the different vibe that you're getting. Now, and I'm not talking about this playful side. I'm talking about Bryce Young, the quarterback of the future.
Right.
What have you seen from him now in his third training camp, second coaching staff, but the first time he's had, basically the same system 2 years in a row?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the stability is the biggest thing that's happening around here. When you've got the same set of coaches, effectively the same set of offensive personnel. I mean, they brought this thing back almost turnkey with the exception of, losing Ian Thomas and, some spare parts and then bringing in a Tetairoa McMillan. I mean, this offense is a net gain in terms of personnel this offseason. And I think just having the same set of coaches, the same play calls, knowing things. Dave Canales talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and he said, we're able to build on things that, things that worked well last year, we can develop them. We can add to. We can find new stuff that we're good at. We can find new stuff we like. And, already this camp, you're seeing plays out there on the field that it's like, oh, well, they didn't try that last year. And I just think as they get more comfortable around each other, that gives them the opportunity to expand this thing and become more diverse as an offense. I mean, if you look at it, you knew the way you were going to run when it was Chuba Hubbard. Now that you add a Rico Dowdle to the mix, it's like, oh, well, this adds a layer, and you can do this and this and this with it. And I just think all of that is a function of everybody being more comfortable, Bryce chief among them.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, is joining us here as we ask the old guy. We are just about wrapping up the mandatory minicamp. The wide receiver group, I hear a lot of buzz. Mostly I read a lot of buzz about this, a lot of it from you. So what have you seen? What have you seen maybe with Xavier Legette taking a step from year one to year two? I know Tet's been a little bit hobbled, but I'm sure we have seen flashes of what he's capable of. What have you seen from that group?
Okay, first things first, we can't call him Tet. Tet is not an approved nickname
for
really? Tetairoa McMillan. Yeah, and you know why? Here's the very most important and most basic reason. Mama don't like it.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's good.
When I talked to his mother, Shawnee, when she was here with him night after the draft or day after the draft, somebody asked, hey, is it okay if we call you Ted? And she was like, nope. And somebody said, why? And she said, because I named him Tetairoa. So our approved list, we can go T-Mac, we can go Nalo. Frankly, I think I'm a little bit too old to call him either of those things.
Right.
So when I've addressed him by name, I've generally just gone by his given name, Tetairoa. That being said, this is a much deeper group. I mean, Adam, if you look at what's happened here, not only do you draft Tetairoa, you draft Jimmy Horn Jr. late, you go in and bring in a free agent, you take a flyer on Hunter Renfrow to see if he can get back to where he can be or has been. Hunter Renfro's healthy again after basically being out and not himself for a couple of years because of the ulcerative colitis diagnosis. And now you add 3 dudes to that mix, and all of a sudden you start doing roster math. It's like, okay, they keep 6 of these. And so once you go down through the Adam, Tepper, Xavier, then you throw in Jalen Coker, and all of a sudden you're looking around. It's like, whoa, they've got more dudes than spots. And that's not something you could say about this team the last couple of years. No. I mean, they've added significantly to the depth at wide receiver. I think defensive tackles, the other position that's kind of stands out in that way. It's just once you build out the roster and spend another year developing guys and adding more parts to it, then you can kind of see what they want this thing to be. And I think that, a lot of times last year they were playing people because they were available, not because they were qualified. And this year they've added so much competition to that roster that it's forcing guys to step up. I mean, Jalen Coker was out there playing because there wasn't anybody else to play at times last year, and now he's going to have to fight for a roster spot. So I think that competition is good for everybody, and you've seen XL kind of, and I am comfortable calling him XL for the record.
Wait, what? That doesn't make sense to me. Why are you more comfortable with XL as opposed to T-Mac?
His mama hadn't told me not to is the reason. So if she does, then I will stop. So when family gets in and starts dictating stuff like that, I will respect their wishes.
By the way,
Xavier has had a much better spring. I mean, yesterday when T-Mac was out, he catches a couple touchdowns in red zone work, and it's like, oh, yeah, there is another first-round pick on this roster, isn't there?
By the way, Darin Gantt is joining us here, Panthers.com. Did you catch any of XL's, I'll just use the word antics, certainly not in a bad way, at the Stanley Cup playoffs when he came up here and was sitting on the glass at a Canes game?
I love it. I love everything about it. I love him showing up in a Glorilla video. You and I are both big fans of Glorilla's entire catalog.
Who is it?
I know. Yeah. I loved him at the Kentucky Derby. Here's what I want to emphasize. I want sports to be fun.
Yeah.
I hate what we do to sports sometimes. People are complaining about an epic NBA Finals because, what about the ratings? Who cares about the ratings? Do you work for ABC? I don't work for ABC, but I sure do like basketball, and this basketball is really good. Okay. Is XL out there living his best life this offseason? He is. Is he also here every day getting better at his job? I mean, I watched him source my 2 eyes, come back off a rough day of practice one day early on in OTAs, and he walks right over to the king of the grinders, Chuba Hubbard, and says, hey, let me get on jugs with you. He's doing the work. So, if a guy is doing his job and fulfilling all his responsibilities, I have a hard time having any problem whatsoever with the stuff he does in his off hours.
Darin Gantt is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. It was just a blast to hear that. I love the mic'd up stuff was so good.
It's genuine fun, and who hates genuine fun?
There are people out there, you know them, Darin, maybe not personally, but we know of them, that take all of this
the worst.
Exactly, way too seriously. 2 more things, and then we will let Darin Gantt go. You can follow him on Twitter at Darin Gantt with 2 T's for extra talent. Give me one other standout, whether it's a player or a specific position group that you think is noticeably improved over last year.
Oh, I think defensive line. I mean, you go from, again, they set all the wrong kind of records last year on defense. We all know that, and there ain't but so much point in rehashing it. You bring back a healthy Derrick Brown. That's the big first step. Then you go out in free agency and you sign Bobby Brown and Turk Wharton. Then you get in the draft and add a gigantic rookie in Cam Jackson. And by the way, look at Panthers.com for the pictures of gigantic Cam Jackson next to little bitty Jimmy Horn. That's high comedy. And Cam really loves doing that. I think Jimmy's on the verge of taking offense, but they've added bodies to that group, and now all of a sudden, A'Shawn Robinson doesn't have to play 75% of the snaps like he did last year. Now all of a sudden, some of these other guys who, are great backups who were forced into roles that they weren't great at last year can be good backups again. And I just think that adding so much depth at that position is going to allow a lot of things to get better defensively. I mean, because that's where it all started up front last year, and all those ugly numbers that came against the run. I mean, what was it, 200 yards rushing per game in each of the last six, I think it was. I mean, it was just ugly. But you add a bunch of people to it, and now all of a sudden Josie Jewell, Trevin Wallace are going to like their lives a lot more. They're happier because instead of, people who aren't necessarily qualified, there's Derrick Brown in front of me again. I kind of dig this.
All right, that's good. Now to the head coach. Is there a different, confidence, mood around Dave Canales this year? Obviously, the way the year ended on a positive upswing, especially on the offensive side of the ball, has to give him a little bit more confidence. Dare I say swagger? Am I allowed to say that about Dave Canales?
I think you can say it, but I think it's kind of like certain nicknames. You and I might be too old to say certain things.
Right.
So, but here's what I'd say about Dave. I mean, I think just like Bryce, he benefits from being in the same place, same time for 2 years in a row. I mean, this is a guy, he talked last year about, I keep changing the stickers, I keep changing the color of my binders. When you go from Seattle to Tampa to Carolina, boom, 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 3 years in a row, he hadn't had a chance to settle in, and now he has. The thing I like about Dave, though, listen, you and I have been around this long enough. All coaches say most of the same words. I mean, you pull the string, you get coach words.
Yep.
The difference about Dave is he behaves the same way every day. I mean, and guys have used the word, I remember Andy Dalton saying, I've been around a lot of coaches, they all say the same stuff. With Dave, there's a genuineness and an authenticity. He's made connections with guys. They believe him, and, he's building something. So he has, to his credit, he has been the same guy every day. He doesn't just talk about it. He comes out here wearing basically the same outfit every day, does basically the same routine before every practice, and then coaches these guys the same way. I mean, he just doesn't, he's got this relentless positivity that becomes the headline in a lot of places, but it's his consistency that stands out to me, honestly, from standing here watching him for about a year and a half.
Darin Gantt, your consistency, your dedication to fun always stands out. At Darin Gantt,
I'm pro fun, and I hope I remain that way the rest of my days.
I know you will, sir. I appreciate your time. I will talk to you very soon.
Yep, sounds good. See y'all.
God, I love talking to Darin Gantt. I think we just scared Ben Seltzer here. I love talking to Darin Gantt about the Panthers. I sense. Look, every team. We have 32 teams in the NFL. Almost said NHL, although there are 32 teams in the NHL. When you're in the mini camp portion of the tour, everybody feels a little extra pep in the step. But it is. I think there's reason to be optimistic about Carolina, not in terms of being great, but in terms of finally giving their fans something to really enjoy. It's been a minute. When was the last time you enjoyed a regular season, Victoria?
Well, my dad and I did go to the one of two games that they beat the Houston Texans.
Going to games,
yes,
is not enjoying the regular season. When was the last time you enjoyed a regular season?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Right?
It's been
18.
A few minutes.
Remember the first half of 18 with Cam before the second shoulder injury?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And then, of course, it all fizzled out.
That was a lifetime ago.
In football terms, yes.
Mm-hmm.
In football. We're only about halfway since the Buffalo Sabres stopped making the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.